Hey folks, I just made this tool tote project on my main channel and got a lot of commonly asked questions or concerns, I guess. So I figured I'd do a follow-up specifically pertaining to the project. So let's just go through these really quick. I would add only one thing: where the chisels touch the bottom of the case, I would put a piece of rubber to cushion and keep the chisels sharp. These chisels do not touch the bottom of the case. There is about 1/2 of an inch before the tip of the chisels hit the actual bottom of the tote here. What they are held in place on is the shafts of the chisels. So they're kept elevated because of that, and they're not sticking or wedging themselves in there to where they make it difficult at all. It's very nice. And I keep these in here so that the bevel faces me in this orientation, faces the back. So as I slide these in, I can naturally get the bevel to touch the back side, and then I can just drop them. It doesn't even matter about the tip because the tip will never touch anything. The tip is suspended in air as it is right now, and it is facing away from the back. It is the full thickness away from the back. So keeping them beveled this way makes them never touch, the tips never touch anything whatsoever. So a little subtle detail, I guess, keeping the chisels in the appropriate orientation. The saw selection, what saws do I have? That was a common question. So a couple, these magnets are strong. A couple things here. I've got this Western style saw. This is a Veritas 14 TPI dovetail saw. It was $60 if I'm not mistaken, so relatively inexpensive in the world of dovetail saws, and it's very nice. I like it, and I thought I would like it the most. However, I'm still can't get rid of these pole saws, these Japanese saws. I like them, I really do. So this is the one. No, this is not the one. Let me back up. This is the one that I used in the video, and it's also the one that I complained about on my last couple vlog videos ago. It's a Z saw, Japanese Z saw. I forget the name. I'll post it on the screen. Very fine teeth, takes a little while to cut through, but the teeth are starting to pop off. That's why I can't really recommend this saw, and that's why I complained about it. That being said, I still used it and it still cut. The teeth popping off are why I can't recommend it, but I still use it, still cut. It's not the one that David Barron recommends with these dovetail guides that he sells. He recommends I'm not even going to pronounce the name because I'm going to butcher it, but the number is a 372, and I'll post a link to this as well. And I picked up this based upon the recommendation to be used with these dovetail guides, and I like it 10 times better than this other one. It's a little bit longer, and it's a little bit heavier, and also the blade, the teeth cut a little bit faster, a little bit more aggressively. I really like this. It's just a lot better balanced overall than the first one I got. I'll post links to all these down below, whatever. So those are the 3 saws in here. I knew I was going to have 3 saws, so I made 3 slots. But when I made the video, this one had not arrived in the mail yet, so that's why I used the other one. I noticed you left your pencil lines on the joints and then you put the finish over the top. That's a very subjective thing. A lot of people love it, or a lot of people hate it, a lot of people like it. If it's not, or it's my understanding that a lot of the old timers left the scribe line on the dovetail joints to kind of say that, hey, this is a hand cut dovetail joint, and it's kind of one of those situations where it's a no pun intended, a line in the sand, I guess, to where people love it or people hate it. I'm in the crowd where I like it. I like that little line being left there. However, I did put pencil in it so I could see it, and then I forgot to erase the pencil out of it, so it doesn't, let's see on any of these. None of these I can visually tell that there's pencil in it. That's just how dark it is because I crushed the fibers as I used the marking gauge. So I don't think that I don't think that the line makes any difference. It's just personal preference. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm in the boat that does like it. So 6 one way, half a dozen the other. I guess it doesn't really matter. Also, it might be one of the things you could cover in the follow-up video, but why did you put the handles on before finishing it? I don't know why. I put the handles on this before finishing it. I put the handles on my pine chest of drawers I did over the past summer. I put those on before finishing it, and for whatever reason, I didn't take them off before finishing it either. Don't know why. It's the incorrect order. You should put the finish on before you put the handles on. But it is what it is. I don't know why. But I have a bad habit of doing that. Why the overhang on the bottom? Well, I had this a little bit long, and I set the sides on top of it, and I thought, hey, that kind of looks all right. It's just visual interest. Before I attached this, and I slid the box over to one side so that the bottoms were nice and flush, it just looked a little boring, and it looked like that it was quite obvious that was like it was this nice flush edge over here and had a big chunk of end grain down at the bottom. It just looked boring. So I left it a little bit long. The sides are nice and flush all the way across because it's side grain to side grain, but it just felt like it was needing something there. I didn't want to invest much as far as making it look awesome because I don't know why. But I just left it a little long. I'm happy with the way it looks. Again, it's personal preference. So if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool. That's fine. It doesn't affect anything as far as the performance of it. Will there be any plans for this? No, it's just 4 sides that are 4 inches tall. I gave the overall dimensions in the video, which, if I remember correctly, is 26 1/4 and then 8 front to back. And then the sides are 4 inches tall. These pieces are all 5/8 of an inch thick, and the bottom piece is 1/2 of an inch thick. No plans. Everything on the inside is specific to these particular tools. Yeah, just these are all specific. Everything is specific to these tools. So it wouldn't really make much sense for me to offer plans for something that you may or may not have as far as your tool selection. And then if you have to modify everything to fit your tools, well, then what's the point of the plan? So no plans. A lot of people didn't get that there's 2 handles on here. I only showed installing one handle because installing the second handle is, I got them this time. Installing the second handle is just the same as the first one. So there are 2 handles on here, and when I shot the pictures at the end, all 4 of those pictures are pretty much the same angle on all 4 of these joints. And every single one of those pictures you can see the handle in. So there are 2 handles in here. It's very easy to pick up and move where you need to go. I don't want to put a handle on the top or a strap along the top or anything over the top because I don't want anything to be in the way. I don't want to move a handle out of the way to use this. This is just, it was built specifically for me to take my tools on the road a couple hours south of here. And that's exactly why I made it, and it does the job just fine. Literally, you just grab this, put it in the vehicle. When you get out of the vehicle, you grab it and you put it where you're going to use it. I don't think that needs to be any more complicated than what it is. I don't need a top to it because I'm never going to leave these anywhere, and I don't need it to be locking. And I built this 5 days ago, so 4 or 5 days ago, something like that. And since having it here in the shop, all of those days except one, it's been here in the shop, and I absolutely love it just for the fact that I can keep all of my tools in a condensed spot. All of these would be scattered all over the bench otherwise, taking up a lot more space than what they do. And I'm the kind of person to where if I'm done with a tool, I like to put it back where it goes before proceeding if possible. And it just keeps things nice and tidy. I really, really, really like that. So this is probably going to have the majority of its life just sitting on top of my bench wherever I want to slide it around, just so I've got all my hand tools where I want them. And one of the things that the most convenient part about this whole setup for me is this having the chisels vertical in a nice, even, nice organized orientation here. I was debating on making a chisel rack to go on the side of my workbench for this very reason. That way I don't have to set them down and they roll off and then they end up whacking the tips into the next piece and doling the tips. So just that right here was worth making the entire project for me. However, having everything convenient as it's on my bench is just fantastic. I really like it. And now that I do like this, I think that pretty much confirms that I probably would like a workbench with some type of, I wouldn't say a tool tray because I still don't like tools running or rolling around and bouncing into each other, but maybe like a tool rack somewhere on the tray, on the workbench. But anyway, that's just random thinking here. All right, let's talk about the tools that I have in here. My most commonly used hand plane is just a regular, I think this is like a number 4. I don't know the numbers. However long this is, just a normal size hand plane. The only marking that I know on it is it says grip. I don't know if grip is the name brand or what, but it's a very crappy hand plane that I've tuned up to where it works. but it's still a crappy hand plane. So this is bought locally at a Discount Tools place, which is kind of like a local Harbor Freight kind of store. And up until a couple months ago, it was full of rust and in really bad shape. Paul Sellers released a video, like a full hour-long video on restoring a hand plane. Watched it, and then I did the same thing to this, rounded off all the edges, made it nice and flat, got rid of all the rust. Well, all the rust, most of the rust on the body, and I've been using Paul Sellers' recommended oil rag can to gently put a little bit of oil or 3-in-1 oil on this as I use it, and so far no rust. So highly recommend this. Highly don't recommend mosquitoes in your shop though. Anyway, so this is working out really well with this oil can rag to keep the rust at bay. This is a number 62 low angle jack plane from Wood River. I was wanting to get a nice low angle plane or a longer plane, and this is what my budget allowed. Really, really nice though. I highly recommend it. And because it's a low angle plane, obviously the blade is at a low angle and sharpened or ground to a particular angle. But I did purchase a second blade for it that is ground at a different angle, so it will perform like a traditional jack plane would. So it's kind of like having two planes in one, just by replacing the blade. Anyway, really, really nice hand plane. I really like it. I've got it set to kind of take really wispy, make you feel good kind of shavings, and this one's more for the fast work, removing more material. I've got a couple dividers over here. This is the one that I used in the video. This is a drafting compass that I replaced the graphite with a nail actually, and I use this as a set of dividers. Works really, really well. I forgot that in my drafting kit, I've got an associate's degree in computer-aided drafting and design, and I had a full drafting kit when I was in college taking the courses. Set it aside, totally forgot about it, and inside that kit is a set of drafting dividers. So these are a nice set of dividers for dovetail work or layout or whatever you want to call or whatever you want to use them for. And I forgot that I had them, so now they go in here. A cheap scraper. This is a Baco scraper. It's very inexpensive. Highly recommend getting one of these. Since I got this past summer, I barely have sanded anything. This will make your life a lot easier for removing material, fine-tuning surfaces, and skipping a lot of sanding steps. Highly recommend getting one of these. Somebody named Anonymous, whoever Anonymous may be, sent me a Wood River marking gauge, which is very, very nice. I very much appreciate it. I wish you wouldn't have used Anonymous, that way I could properly thank you. However, it's very cool. Thank you very much. This thing is very awesome. I prefer the wheel style marking gauge much better than the knife style that I also have. So thank you. Got 'em. And then I also have a Narex marking knife, just for marking tails. Well, for marking anything really. Narex marking knife. Nothing fancy there. These are the guides that I used. David Barron tools. These magnets are crazy strong. This is a 1:8 guide, ratio of 1 to 8. This is a 1:5 guide. Hardwoods 1:8, 1:5 softwoods. They also have they've also got sandpaper under here, so they kind of stick to your material so they don't wander, which is very nice. And the chisels that I'm using are Cobalt chisels. I just bought this set right before making this video for this project, because the footprint brand chisels that I had, just chopping dovetails and pine, rounded over the tip. It's very frustrating having to sharpen your chisels every time you cut a single dovetail in pine. It's very crappy. So I have a set of old Stanley beaters that I used to just throw in the floorboard of my truck when I had a maintenance job, and I sharpened those up, and they actually held up really, really well. Much better than my Footprint brand, except I only have a couple of those chisels, don't have many sizes, and The 1/4-inch chisel was sharpened so much with a belt sander, because that's what I used to use, that I didn't have much material right here to actually get a nice, to hold it in such a way to get a nice edge. So I splurged for another, I think I've got 25, 30 bucks. It's about 35 in this little set of chisels. So I figure I'll give these a go and keep them sharp with a leather strop, which is something I've started to do, which is very quick, convenient, and handy. And so far, I'm impressed with these. I was gonna spend a decent amount of money on a nice set of chisels that I'll never have to replace. However, a couple people talked me into trying out a lesser expensive brand and just using a strop to maintain them. And so far, so good. A lot less expensive, and these are, as of right now, meeting my expectations. So after a couple projects, we'll see how they change. But anyway, I think that's all I can say on this project and this little tool tote. So thanks for watching. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Missed.